Hello, I am Nicole Rivers and I am your host of Nikki in the Middle. Why Nikki in the Middle? Because I'm middle aged and I am just getting started on this middle age journey. And guess what? I am not ashamed. I did not regret turning 30. I look forward to turning 40 and I am going to be fabulous at 50. And believe me, that is a journey. Now, today, part of that journey entails health, healthy eating, exercise, mental and emotional awareness, all the things. I have challenged myself to 30 days of discipline. And when I talk about discipline, I am talking about self care. And you would think, because I'm a teacher and I am off for the summer and all these things, that is easy, but it is not. When I am not on schedule with work, discipline is much harder. I give myself permission to break rules and to take shortcuts and to do things that I normally wouldn't do. So, to combat that, periodically throughout the year, I challenge myself. 21 days here, 14 days there. Now I've gone to 30 days. Why? Because exercise has fallen off the map and emotional eating is at an all time high. I am telling you, there is something about having a lot of time to think that causes me to eat. With that being stated, I am actually on day three. Day one, it's pretty good. Yesterday, not so much. Today, got to get back on the grind. So, what does that look like for me? It looks like intermittent fasting. So, having a 14-hour fasting window is my challenge for myself. That is not too hard. That means that I get to eat between the hours of 12 p.m. and 10 p.m. because of the schedule of my life and when my husband gets off work. I want to have the opportunity to eat a meal with him most days of the week, if that's what we so choose to do. So, with that being stated, why am I doing this? People often look at me and they're like, "You're skinny." Well, not for my height. Okay. And so when we're looking at people's body type, we make all these assumptions by looking at them. And I realize I've done a little bit of research, not an expert, but BMI does not consider a lot of things like ethnicity and genetics and background and age. It just has like a flat rate. So that is not the best way to look at whether or not you are physically overweight, but it is a cool baseline to start. And when I went to the doctor, they told me, "Yeah, girl, you are overweight." And I'm like, man. Now, it wasn't because medical professionals or some chart told me that I am fat. I'm more concerned about visceral fat, the fat that you don't see. So I did learn about this a long time ago and I have been mindful of it. It's the fat that wraps itself around your vital organs. That's the fat that can kill you. And that's the fat that I'm concerned about because that's the fat that has skinny people dying of heart attacks. Okay. And fit people dying of diseases that no one would guess that they would because they look perfectly healthy, but their diets are horrible. And so those diets contribute to health issues that they're having. And they also have that hidden organ fat that really causes problems for people. And then we have to think about clogged arteries, high blood pressure, being pre diabetic and diabetic, and all those things. And somebody who is this big can have all those problems because we are not paying attention to what we're putting in our body and what we are eliminating from our body. We're just paying attention to overall weight. So weight is one indicator that lets us know whether or not we're healthy, but it is definitely not the only indicator. So do not be deceived. And I am not. I am not deceived. So though I look like I'm on the slim side because that is what it looks like genetically, I understand that I haven't been eating the best lately. I have been eating what I felt like eating and how much I felt like eating. And guess what? There's a price to pay. And so I'm just going to be honest. Discipline is hard for me. Being consistent, picking out one steady way of doing things all the time when you have holidays and birthdays and depressed days. All these things, anxious days, like life is lifing. And so this girl is eating, right? And for a while I can go with all the healthy foods, the organic foods, and it's expensive as all get out. But nonetheless, I will pay that money for that to avoid a hospital visit. But then something happens, like a passing of a loved one, and I start going to all my comfort foods because salad is not comforting when you are really, really sad. Let's be honest. All right. So, what else am I doing? So, I am challenging myself to do at least 10 minutes of physical exercise when I'm not going to the gym. And I am one of those, yes, one of those people who have an expensive gym membership and is not using it. My son, oh, he is loving that indoor basketball court. Me, I have not stepped foot in that pool or that sauna or that steam room in months, and it's been summertime and I have not gone because it's way across town. So I do realize that it's easier for me to think that I will go to the gym after work because I'm closer to the gym, and that's why I have my gym membership over there. But if I know I'm 30 minutes away or 25 minutes away when I'm home, I have to be willing to do some sort of physical exercise and breath work in order to maintain personal health and wellness. Breath work is so important. It's good for your mind, it's good for your nerves and emotional state, it is good for your body in general because we do not pay attention to how we breathe. And a lot of us do not breathe deeply. So doing that breath work, very important. And then after doing that breath work, doing that stretch work, getting those limbs moving, oh my goodness, I start feeling like a different person just with doing 2 or 3 minutes of simple stretching. And then for me, the other parts is just some leg and arm and abdomen work. And I am not all about that life of getting on the floor and doing these crazy challenges. I need my limbs and my joints to work into my old age. My grandmother on my father's side is in her 90s. So I'm like, I am definitely like in the middle, but barely. I'm not even halfway to 90. So guess what? I need these knees and these hip joints to work. So I am not abusing my body. I've also learned that when you live a high stress lifestyle, especially as a woman, and releases things like cortisol into the body, things like stress hormones that cause you to retain weight. So if you are already living a stressful lifestyle and then going to do these stressful exercise plans, you are compounding a problem, and you may not end up losing any weight at all because your body is going to hold on to all that negative stress and negative hormones and negative energy. Okay, so we have to be careful as women in the middle, or men even in the middle, especially women though, when we are trying to shred our bodies and look like we are in our 20s, which we are not, and we don't need to look that way. If you do, God bless you. But that's not in my gene pool, right? So we don't need to look that way, but we do need to move and be limber and have flexibility and feel good. And doing that only takes a few minutes a day. So I just want to encourage you guys that, if you are not feeling disciplined, you're not feeling capable or able, there's some small thing you can do to start changing your lifestyle, some small thing you can add to what you are doing each day to improve the quality of your life and your longevity. I know I'm a realist. I'm also a Christian and a believer, and I understand life is not completely about the avoidance of pain or sickness or sadness. As a matter of fact, it is impossible. But I also believe that I am not going to add to my sickness or to my pain if I can help it. I'm going to minimize what I add to my own suffering now and later, because I want to be like my grandmother, and she was still flying around the world in her 80s and still traveling in her 90s and speaking publicly. And I'm like, Grandma, you so dope, you're my hero. I want to be like you when I grow up. I have role models, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do my part so that I can live the fullest of my life. And in this latter half, okay, this latter half from birth to 30 something, little girl was lost and figuring stuff out. Okay, I couldn't wait to get mature enough to know something and not to be out here just messing it up and trying to figure it out. And now that I messed some things up and gained some knowledge and some wisdom, I am not about to waste that good training and that good information in years of sickness and struggle and physical just fragility because I refuse to take any ownership over who I've become as a person. So I want to encourage you guys who are in the middle with me not to give up. Those little decisions that we make day by day add up to big outcomes over time. Just like if you were investing into some stock and over the years it gains interest and gives you a good payment at the end, right? Guess what? When we do little investments in our health over time, it compounds, and at the end, we get to live in the blessing of it. So I hope that this little Nikki in the middle has helped you and motivated you. And y'all, those that know the word of prayer, keep me in prayer because this is a challenge, but I am going for it. And I hope that some of you will join me.